Process of me building this new school in Nigeria has officially been stamped today, as in terms of like it's a go-go. So this new school in Makoko for the kids that's live in Makoko in Nigeria, I started working on the school right now.
Kai Cenat was supposed to be the golden boy of streaming, the one who'd turn viral fame into real-world change, the guy with a vision big enough to inspire millions, promising to build schools for deprived kids in Nigeria and talking like he was about to become the next Bill Gates of philanthropy.
I only donated $150 to the Mr. Beast water charity. People are also calling out for not even finishing those buildings or schools or whatever in Africa he plans on.
His speeches were powerful. The hype was real, and for a moment, it looked like he was going to prove that internet clout could actually change lives. But somewhere between the promises and the reality, something broke. And when reality finally showed up, it wasn't the heartwarming success story people expected. It was footage of slums where those schools were supposed to stand. No construction, no facilities, just crowded, crumbling rooms where orphaned kids slept on chairs.
Before doing that, I really wanted to see how the Nigerian people lived at the other end of the spectrum by heading to the worst slum in Lagos, a slum called Makoko.
This place is intense. The smell, the heat, and all the water flooding right here.
Wow. As soon as I arrived to the slum, I met with the chief that was in charge of this area. And what he decided to tell me was truly heartbreaking.
My name is Sunday Desmond, and I'm son of the chief here in Makoko Waterfront. I run 2 schools here, an orphanage home, and each of my school have over 300 kids each. Some of the kids in the school are orphans and less privileged kids. Those are the kind of kids because their parents can afford to send them to school, and I have to put this upon myself as son of the chief.
You need to put NSC in school? Yes. Yeah, can you show me around? Or let me know.
Some of them, we have 385 children in the school. So after the school, we pack the chairs for the orphans to sleep here.
Yeah, and they sleep here?
Yes, they sleep here. Okay,
man, this is crazy, bro. This is another classroom, so they learn stuff at. I went to school in a class that's 5 times bigger than this, bro. And we complain about going to school, bro. I'm going to help you today, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
This building is sinking. The building is coming down.
Okay.
It's sinking, so we are looking for support to bring it down and rebuild because something like that so that it can strong.
Yeah, like to make it strong?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We have the plan and also the quotation with us.
Okay. All right, yep. Damn, bro. This is his office. This is where he get work done and stuff like that, right? What do you think you could need in here?
So, although this building is sinking, the main job problem we are having in the old school is the building is sinking.
Because there was nowhere else to go. From that moment, the internet started to connect the dots, and what they saw didn't look good. This wasn't just about a failed project. It was about a pattern: flashy spending on luxury gear and jewelry, while ignoring urgent charity efforts, public feuds with fellow creators, and old clips painting a picture of someone very different from the savior persona. And as more stories surfaced, from unpaid debts to ignored collaborations, Kai's reputation began to collapse in real time. The question isn't whether he made mistakes, it's whether the entire image he built was nothing more than a well-polished illusion. When Kai first talked about building schools in Nigeria, it felt like a turning point, not just for him, but for how influencers could use their platforms. The pitch was simple but powerful: create safe, well-equipped classrooms for kids who had nothing. It wasn't just a donation, it was a legacy project, the kind that would put his name alongside global philanthropists. The speeches were passionate. The vision sounded airtight. Clips of Kai talking about changing lives spread fast.
The whole thing that me, Beast, and XQC were saying, like, if Kai did this, then we do this, because he owes him money. Kai owes XQC money. Okay, he's right, cool. He's right then. Sure, I don't care. I donated $100,000, okay? I'm not donating $400,000. I donated $100,000. I don't care. I don't give a It's that simple.
With fans praising him as a streamer who wasn't just about entertainment, but real impact. The internet loves a redemption arc, and for a while, Kai was living it. But on the ground in Nigeria, the story looked very different. A YouTuber traveled to check on the progress, expecting to see new buildings and smiling students. Instead, he found Makoko, one of Lagos's poorest slums, unchanged. No construction, no classrooms, just overcrowded shacks where more than 300 children crammed into each school. And when the day ended, the orphans stayed behind, sleeping on the same chairs they'd been using to learn. Local leaders described heartbreaking conditions: collapsing roofs, rotting walls, and a desperate need for basic supplies. They had quotations for repairs and plans to rebuild, but no sign of the man who'd promised to make it happen. The gap between the promise and reality wasn't just wide, it was a canyon. And for many watching, it marked the beginning of the end for Kai's carefully crafted image. If there's one thing Kai has never been shy about, it. Showing off his money. His streams and socials are littered with shots of six-figure jewelry, racks of designer clothes, and gear so expensive it could fund an entire school on its own. He once dropped $200,000 on chains without blinking, and showed off a $300,000 custom streamer backpack like it was just another Tuesday purchase. That kind of spending is easy to justify when you've already backed up your big promises. But when the Nigerian school project sat at a standstill, those flexes hit differently. The same man who branded himself as a champion for kids in need was dropping life-changing amounts of money on things with zero social impact. And then came Mr. Beast's Team Water initiative, an effort to bring clean drinking water to millions around the world. Creators across the internet rallied, with some donating hundreds of thousands, others chipping in what they could. Aiden Ross's community alone raised $500,000. In that moment, it seemed like the perfect chance for Kai to prove his critics wrong and step up for a cause he claimed to care about. But instead of joining in, Kai stayed silent. No donation, no public support, no sign he even noticed. For fans who'd bought into his philanthropic persona, it was a slap in the face. And for his critics, it was confirmation of what they'd suspected all along, that the generosity was just for show. If the silence around Team Water was bad, what came next turned it into a full-blown controversy. Aiden Ross went public with a challenge. If Kai donated $400,000 to the cause, Aiden would match it with another $400,000 of his own. It wasn't just about charity, it was also tied to a lingering issue. According to Aiden, that $400K was the exact amount Kai still owed fellow streamer XQC. The idea was simple. Instead of handing the money directly to XQC, put it toward a cause that would help millions. That way, Kai could clear his name and still make a massive impact. Even Mr. Beast backed the plan. But when cameras were rolling, Kai brushed it off. He said he'd already donated $100K elsewhere, that he wasn't doing the full $400, and that was the end of it. Then XQC jumped in, revealing Kai's solution to the debt, blocking his number. To him, it wasn't just a missed payment. It was proof that Kai would rather vanish from a problem than face it head-on. What made it sting more was the contrast. This was the same Kai who'd burned stacks on fireworks, parties, and stunt repairs without a second thought. Yet when it came to a life-changing donation that could also close a public debt chapter, he chose the block button instead. For many, it was no longer just a question of priorities. It was a question of character. Public image can be polished, but the people closest to you usually know the unfiltered truth. For Kai, that truth started spilling out when Phantom, his longtime friend and collaborator, broke the silence. Phantom wasn't some bitter outsider. He'd been in the inner circle since early days, sharing streams, inside jokes, and behind-the-scenes moments fans never got to see. That's why his words hit so hard. According to Phantom, working with Kai off-camera was a completely different experience from the hype and laughs seen online. He described Kai as ego-driven, dismissive, and prone to throwing sharp, cutting comments at friends. Ideas from others were brushed aside. Conversations turned into one-way streets, and collaborations became exhausting. This wasn't about petty disagreements. It was about a pattern of behavior that left people around him feeling undervalued. And Phantom wasn't the only one hinting at it. Other creators, while not naming names, had posted cryptic tweets about people changing when the money hits, and friends turning into bosses. For fans, this was a turning point. If even Kai's closest allies were stepping back, maybe the family energy they'd loved watching for years wasn't as genuine as they thought. And as more old clips resurfacing, those suspicions only grew stronger. The internet has a long memory, and when someone's reputation starts to crack, old receipts always seem to surface. For Kai, one particular clip became the perfect ammunition for critics. In it, he brags about tipping $0 on a DoorDash order, laughing like it was just another flex. At the time, it might have slipped under the radar, dismissed as a throwaway joke. But now, in the shadow of unfulfilled promises and charity snubs, it looked like part of a bigger pattern. The clip went viral almost instantly. Comment sections filled with outrage, viewers pointing out how a streamer who could spend hundreds of thousands on jewelry wouldn't spare a few dollars for a delivery driver. Memes and edits flooded TikTok and Twitter, many pairing the DoorDash moment with his flashy spending habits and the stalled Nigeria project. It wasn't just about a tip, it was about what it symbolized. To many, it showed a lack of empathy and an inflated ego. Same traits critics claimed were behind his philanthropic failures. The video became a shorthand for who they thought Kai really was. A quick, punchy example that could be dropped into any conversation about his downfall. And just as the backlash was hitting a peak, another controversy, this time involving a fellow creator, was about to push things even further. If the DoorDash clip painted Kai as selfish, the Jinxie incident made him look downright disrespectful. The setup seemed harmless. A casual Clash Royale stream where Kai and fellow creator Jinxie would link up for some lighthearted gameplay. But what unfolded left viewers stunned. From the very start, Kai's attention was elsewhere. Instead of engaging with Jinxie, he focused almost entirely on his own chat, cracking inside jokes, reacting to donations, and barely acknowledging Jinxie's presence. Awkward silences filled the moments, where a simple, "your turn" or "nice play" could have kept the collab alive. Then, mid-call, with, "Warning, Kai just left." No goodbye, no wrap-up, just disconnected, leaving Jinxie live on stream, looking confused and embarrassed. Clips of the moment spread quickly, and the reaction was brutal. Viewers called out the blatant lack of respect, noting that it wasn't some random fan he'd ghosted. It was another creator, someone showing up to collaborate in good faith. The backlash only grew when Kai's apology surfaced. It was short, vague, and felt more like a PR move than genuine remorse, with no real acknowledgement of how he'd handled the situation. For many, this wasn't an isolated misstep. It was another puzzle piece in a bigger picture. One where ego outweighed courtesy and relationships were disposable if they didn't serve his moment in the spotlight. By the time the Jinxie fallout settled, something had shifted, not just in Kai's image, but in how he seemed to embrace it. Instead of damage control or quiet reflection, he leaned into the chaos. Streams opened with cocky grin and lines that felt more like jabs at his critics than attempts to win them back. He wasn't denying the stories, he was reframing them. If people wanted a villain, he'd give them one. This wasn't entirely new. Kai had always thrived on high-energy, borderline confrontational entertainment. But now, the charm was stripped away, replaced with a kind of performative defiance. He'd joke about haters like they were just part of the fan base, mock the outrage, and brush off serious accusations as if they were exaggerated drama. Some fans bought into it, rallying around the unbothered persona and turning every controversy into a badge of honor. But for others, it was the final confirmation that the philanthropic, humble streamer they once believed in was gone. A villain narrative can be powerful. It keeps you in the headlines, keeps people talking, but it's a dangerous game. And for Kai, it's hard to tell whether this was a calculated move to stay relevant, or simply the real him finally stepping out from behind the mask.